Hey everyone, this is Justine from JustPlans and welcome back to another video. This one is going to be another budget with me. I am recapping for January 2022, so if you didn't see my January 2022 budget with me, please do see that video. I'm going to link it down in the description below. In that video, I also talk through kind of my budgeting, personal finance strategy, so I think that would be really helpful if you are just starting out or if you're interested in my mindset there. But yeah, today I'm going to recap January as well as budget for February. So I'm just going to pull these out of my planner because it's way easier that way. Okay. And then I'll zoom on in. Today I have my Uniball Signo retractable in 0.38 as well as my Tombow 942. Okay, so as far as the January 2022 recap, let's see how I did. For the home renovation, of course, I went in with that $2,000 that I had planned on. Okay, and then for groceries, I came out to 20817, which is a bit more than the 180 that I had budgeted for. This does make sense though, because I had reduced our restaurant spending by so much. It makes sense that obviously we're going to spend more in groceries. So just a note for future budgets. For restaurants, I budgeted $50 and I did really well with that. Actual spending was $53.50, which I'm not gonna get too hung up over $3. For utilities, so utilities, this one was a tough one. This is our first winter in our house, and so obviously the utilities are going to be a bit different from what we're used to in our previous apartment. In addition, I know based on last year's utilities that the summer is much cheaper than the winter. So what I like to do for certain categories, utilities is one of them, health, Archie, and car are the other categories that I'd like to do this for, but I like to budget the same amount every single month. And then even though the expenses are going to be a little different month to month, at the end of the year, the annual spending is all going to kind of average out basically to that monthly budget. So again, this is going to just be a little bit of a learning curve because we're in our new home and, we haven't gone through a winter where we have to pay for the utilities yet. So in addition to the high energy bill, we also had the water bill that was due this month. Which only happens once a quarter. So, or I think it's like 3 or 4. Yeah, I don't want to say it's once a quarter. But anyway, so all that to say, this utility actual spend, it was quite a lot. It was $298.51. So almost $200 more than I budgeted. Again, this is just going to be something that I'm going to have to adjust for this year as I get more accustomed to how much we're really going to be having to spend for utilities. So anyway, okay, so $298.51. For household needs, I was right under that $35 that I budgeted, and I spent $34.98. So that's great. For health, I just have $79.97 of the 100 that I budgeted for. For Archie, I budgeted $130, but he did have a vet appointment this month. So anyone who has a fur baby knows that vet appointments are super expensive. So I paid $162.29, so a bit over the $130 that I had initially budgeted. But that's okay because I know he's not going to have a vet appointment every single month. So that again is going to average out throughout the year. For my car, I only had to get gas once, and then I also had to replenish my Easy Pass account. So $58.12 of the $115 that I budgeted for. For home decor, I budgeted 250 because we were going to paint our downstairs and paint is very expensive. We ended up being too lazy in January to actually do that, so I didn't spend any money in home decor this month, which is great. For gifts, I budgeted 0 and I spent 0. For travel, I budgeted 90 and I spent 93.50. Then fun money, this is actually a little bit different because this income balance was actually a little bit off from what I had anticipated. With the new calendar year, I kind of changed my deductions a little bit. So this ended up being 1072.54, which I feel like my estimate was so close. I was only $1.50 off from what I had estimated. So I'm pretty impressed with myself there. And as far as how much money I spend for fun money, this was 14.95, and literally all that did was cover the shipping cost for all my PR orders. So anyway, so yeah, if I tally all this up, okay, so tallying up my actual spend, okay, so my actual spend was 1,003. Was 1,003.99, which is less than my budgeted amount, which I'm super impressed with myself. Honestly, I'm so happy about that. So yeah, I did pretty well for January, I would say. Okay, so that's my January recap. I obviously overspent in certain categories, but then I underspent in certain categories, namely home decor, which allowed me to still come up for the month under my initial budget, which is a win in my opinion. Okay, so I'm going to now set up for February. Okay, so with these inserts, I'll just designate February 2022. I'll jot down my 2 paychecks for the month. And then, of course, as you know, if you watch my January budget with me, after I have my income for the month, I always put my money into my investments and savings before anything else. So, of course, pre tax investments come before I get my paycheck. So, I'm not going to continue writing that anymore. My post tax investments, which is my Roth IRA, which I will always put $500 a month into to max that out, and then a brokerage or, brokerage accounts. And I'm not going to tell you how much I put in those, but okay. So then after my investments in savings, I have to pay my mortgage. And then I am paying down $16,000 in home renovation debt. And so each month I am contributing $2,000 to that. Uh, Now on to my sinking funds, which I use the term sinking funds very loosely. I'd say they're more like guidelines as opposed to actual rules. Please comment down below if you know that movie, please. And you really should because it's classic. Okay, so I'm just going to write down my sinking fund categories. Okay, great. And then I'm just going to write down. So after I take out my investments from my salary, as well as my mortgage and my home renovation, I have a balance of 107,254, which is basically my spending money for that month. And that is the amount of money that I will be including or budgeting into my sinking funds. Okay, so I'm gonna change these allotments a little bit for February based on the spending that I had for January. So let's see, I'm gonna up groceries to 200. For restaurants, I'm also gonna up that a little bit to $65. For utilities, again, I know this was a lot of money or a lot higher than I had budgeted for, but I do plan for these utility costs to just average themselves out throughout the year. So I've decided for February, I'm just going to up this to 130, which I think I've come up with a plan to like gradually increase this number throughout the year in order to just again average out to cover the costs of utilities. So, okay, for household needs, I'm going to up this to 80 because there are a few things that we need to buy this month. For health, that stays at 100. Archie stays at 130 and car stays at 115. These are funds that I contribute the same amount of money every month, and again, they'll just average out throughout the year. For home decor, there's a few things that I still want to buy in addition to the paint. So I still have the 250 from last month, but I do want to add just another $80 for some other things that I want to get for the house. For gifts, 0. For travel, I'm gonna budget 145, and then whatever the balance is. So if I add all these up and then subtract them from my total amount, which is 1072.54, I'm gonna get 27.54 for my fund money for February. Okay. So that is my budget for February 2022. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will definitely let you know at the end of February with a recap and see how I did. But yeah, if you're interested in this type of content, please consider subscribing. Please make sure to like and comment down below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.